What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Gators Breakdown Plus member chat. Lots of you in here tonight. Thank you so much. But lots going on, of course. I don't even have really a plan for tonight. It's just we're going to talk about it all. This Thursday before Florida, Tennessee, but the main conversation, of course, the Lane Kiffin sweepstakes. The reports out there from mainly the Ole Miss media, but some in the LSU, just putting out there Florida's out of this thing, and it's only an Ole Miss LSU battle. And now seeing right before I come live here that got some Ole Miss mods saying Florida was never in it, which is ridiculous, but okay. Plenty of ways to go with this. I still think Florida's in it. I mean, I would just start with that. I don't believe they're angled to it all, and that's not to say Florida will be the pick. But if they want to go as far as, I think, getting their panties in a bunch because of, just the way Florida has gone about this thing in the last few weeks, they can do that. They may have the last laugh, but to me, they're lying about the whole process leading up to this point. If they're going to sit here and say Florida hasn't been in it, it's not in it currently, you're not getting me to buy that. I don't care what the result is. But man, this might be the biggest member chat we've had. So I figured it would be lots and lots of new members, lots of new Gators Breakdown Plus members ready to go listen. So certainly I know there's a chat box. If you don't want to hop on with your voice and voice chat with us, certainly leave your thoughts. We can hit it that way. I'm trying to get that up right there to the safest. Okay, got that. But I know a lot of you got, or some of you have your hand up, ready to go and get this thing started. But lots of new members lately. Everybody, welcome. Thanks for joining Gators Breakdown Plus. Thanks for trusting Gators Breakdown Plus, me, Gators Breakdown, everybody involved with Gators Breakdown during this time. Means a lot. And I've seen a lot of the kind words you guys have thrown out there recently, and thank you so much. I know it's a trying time. I know there's a lot going on. It does mean a lot that you have decided to spend your time, spend your money to be part of Gators Breakdown Plus. That is not lost on me at all. So thank you guys so much. And all right, let's get this thing started. I think Zach was the first one. So let me bring him in here, and we'll get it started that way. Zach, let's see. There we go.
Hey, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, man. Gotcha.
No, I won't be quick because I'm excited to hear about all the coaching stuff everybody wants to say. I just want to say I'm so excited for this weekend. It's going to be my first time back at the Swamp since Dan Mullen was the coach there. And it's my first night game, too. So I'm just excited for this weekend. Any advice for game day stuff?
Yeah. Depending on what time you get there, reach out to me. Come join the tailgate. Come have fun at the tailgate, Harmonic Woods. We'll be there bright and early. Doesn't matter how late the kickoff is. We will be there bright and early. So come reach out to me. I'll give you the location and stop by Harmonic Woods. Come say hello to us.
Yeah.
And one more thing, just take it all in. I know it's an ugly season. You said, it's your first time. You haven't been there in years. Take it all in. Just take it all in.
I'm bringing a couple of Tennessee fans with me, so hopefully I get to take them back because them weeping.
For sure. I hope you do as well.
Yeah. What's the latest that you're actually? I know there's a lot of rumors flying around. It's so hard to know what to believe in. What's the latest you're hearing about Lane?
I mean, I kind of just put it out there. As we sit here this Thursday evening, Florida's still in it. I know there's a lot of reports that Lane has made a decision towards Ole Miss. Lane has made a decision toward LSU. Well, see, there's already mixed signals there. He has that meeting Friday with the AD, Keith Carter, there at Ole Miss. I think as far as the timeline goes, I think that will speed some things up. Whether an answer tomorrow, I wouldn't think so. But I would think by the weekend. You can't have – I think Ole Miss is going into that meeting tomorrow wanting an answer of Lane Kiffin's future. So I think that's why it gets sped up a little bit. I think we may think we might start hearing some things filter out over the weekend as far as that goes. So, but I firmly believe Florida's in it. I do think some things are going on tonight as far as all the flight tracking goes. And are they meeting in Oxford? Are they meeting somewhere else? That your guess is as good as mine of what's happening out there. But I do not think Florida's sitting around right now letting this thing just finish out and just see where it goes. I think Florida's still doing their due diligence on Lane Kiffin. I don't think Florida's out of it. I'm not even sure Florida's trailing like some people want you to believe. That's where that's where I'll stand on it.
I'm mostly worried what happens if it's a no, because the options I've been hearing have not been great. I really don't want to drink here. I think a majority of the fan base doesn't want to drink here. I think he might win here. I just hate the man that much that I just don't want to see it.
If he ends up being the guy, I think that feeling will go around many, and the only way to get rid of it is win. Winning solves all. So we'll all overlook a lot if there's a bunch of numbers in that win column. So just
is there any legit shot that if it's not Lane, we might go after Lincoln Riley?
I think so. We've put his name out. I'm not hiding anything. I think we've put his name out the last couple of weeks, and there might be some pursuit there. So I will go Lincoln Riley, Brent Key as the two next names. If you had to poll me right now on this Thursday evening, November 20th, the two names I will say after Lane Kiffin are Lincoln Riley, Brent Key.
I don't think those are bad options. I'm worried about Key. There's so many uncertainties with him because he's such a new head coach. You don't know what you're going to get.
Right.
And his offensive coordinator, you don't know the situation with that either. Hopefully, he would make the right hire for offensive coordinator if he loses him when he comes here. So,
yeah, that's the biggest question. That's the biggest question. I like that offense for Georgia Tech. It fits Georgia Tech very well. Fits the quarterback very well. That's the only quarterback he's had there to go through the process with. So there is the big question is he catering the offense to the quarterback, or is this the offense he actually wants to run? Is that power spread what he wants to do for offense the rest of his career? So he hired Buster Faulkner, and Faulkner, that's not necessarily his style before that. We'll see. It lets me know that he's willing to hire an OC, a successful OC. But, is that a lot of Faulkner as well? Saying, hey, this is what he does best. This is what we're going to do to win some ball games. And it's working for Georgia Tech. And we'll see, if Brent Key ever leaves or Faulkner gets another job, and when Haynes King leaves, is that going to be the offense? But you're right. If it just times out because of where he's at in his career, that he takes the Florida job or another job, that question is going to remain till we see it. It is a legit question or a legit concern if you want to put it that far as well.
I don't know if it's just me, but do you get like Elko vibes when you look at Brent Key and kind of how he's built that program?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Elko's more defense, of course, but Brent Key, offensive line, and in that tough mantra, of course, the best way to put it. But yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities with what Elko did at Duke and getting that program up, and then going to Texas A&M. Maybe it's kind of the same kind of route, an ACC team making them better than they have been and taking it somewhere else.
If he beats Georgia in a couple, next week, I bet a lot of Gator fans love to see him come in.
Yeah, should have beat him last year.
Yep. All right, thanks for hearing me out.
Man. Gator Dude Dave, what's up, man? Unmute your mic. I don't know.
I'm here, Dave. Give me a second, buddy.
Okay. I just have to put I just have to put that disclaimer in just in case
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. So I got a couple questions tonight. Very quickly, I just wanted to say thank you so much for doing all this. I got two ladies, my wife and my mom. My wife is currently in Hollywood. She had a heart attack on Sunday.
Oh no, man.
And then mom has and mom has stage 4, but they're both stage 4 cancer, but they're both huge Gator fans. So thank you so much. My wife actually texted me a couple hours ago, said, I'm watching Gators breakdown. Lane should be there any day. I'm like, okay, honey.
I hope for all of our sake that's true. That's true. But hey, thank you, man, and thoughts, prayers, all that good vibes sent your way. I'm sure going through a lot right now. So, thanks for hopefully give you a place to escape for a little while.
Yes, sir. My question, I got a couple questions. So, what the heck happened to the Tulane guy? It was reported that he was interviewing, and then 15 minutes later, he wasn't interviewing. To me, it sounds like, just agent reportings and stuff like that. So, what was that in your estimation?
Yeah, talked about it a little bit last night's episode, but certainly somebody leaked that out there. And the word is Sumrall got ticked off and didn't want it out there. And my question would be why? If that was the case, if that is true, was he just looking to keep the meeting secret? And everybody knows he's kind of leaning towards Auburn. I think it had more to do with something on Florida's end and the Ole Miss angle to it all, not necessarily the Lane Kiffin angle to it all, of trying to pressure. Lane Kiffin holds all the cards here. Him and Jimmy Sexton have all the leverage here. I have a hard time believing that anything like that's going to force Lane Kiffin's hand. Now, maybe Ole Miss's hand, because it is rumored their number one target would be Sumrall if Lane Kiffin decides to go to Florida or LSU. So that's the way I choose to look at it. I don't know the truth. I'm sure it's somewhere in the middle. I think it's probably one of those two scenarios. Maybe it is something on Florida's end to try and force something to do with Lane Kiffin, force an answer or whatever. I have a hard time believing that. So you're not going to force Lane Kiffin to do anything in that regard on that storyline. No, some other storylines out there, maybe, sure. Not that one. I don't buy that. So I think it's more to do with the Ole Miss Auburn storyline, trying to get some things sped up, and we'll see where that goes. But to me, it was more about maybe trying to force Ole Miss's hand overall.
Does Sumrall have the same agent does he have Jimmy Sexton as his agent too?
He does not. He has Dowdle. I forget his first name, but they used to work together, him and Jimmy Sexton. And I was doing some research. Some did some research, and they no longer work together. He used to work for CAA, Jimmy Sexton's company. That is no longer the case, I believe. So there you go.
Okay. Last question. This is from my wife.
But that doesn't mean they don't talk. And that's
right.
That's me saying that I don't know that for sure. Agents are weird. I'm just laying that scenario out there.
Last question from my wife. She's currently up there in Hollywood. She just texted me because I told her I was on with Gator Dave. She wants to know if Lane is – hold on, let me read this. If Lane is hired as our coach, how soon can we expect a championship if not the first year, but maybe the second year, kind of like Urban Meyer? Sorry, I'm just reading her words.
Put me on the spot there. That's probably a question I would best to answer if that hire actually happens. So, it's hard to win a championship. There's 3 guys out there right now. It's hard. I think he gives us the best chance to do it. But most guys, the way this works out, most guys are hired to be fired. And that's just the lay of the land. That's college football right now. I think he puts himself in a great position. That's why I say he should be picking Florida. I think he puts Florida in a great position. I think he puts himself in a great position to win a championship when you come to Florida. So I think, if the timeline is the same for all these successful coaches, it's year 2. And that's at least to put yourself in the conversation. I ain't saying you got to go win one in year 2, but I think you put yourself in the conversation. You kind of get a good feel if the coach is right in putting you in that situation. And it usually happens right away. It's just kind of the way it's happened. Besides Dabo Swinney, it's been your Nick Sabans and your Urban Meyers and your Kirby Smarts. So, putting yourself in position. Now, Saban, his second year at Bama got close, but got beat by Florida in the SEC title game. Kirby Smart kind of the same way, but takes it all to the title game, but gets beat by Alabama in the title game. So you pretty early. So I won't say wins a title in year two, but I think we should get a pretty good indication if that is the path for Florida and Lane Kiffin by year two.
Awesome. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate your time. I'll let you talk to other people. Have a good night, brother.
Sounds good. Thank you, man.
Yes, sir.
Get an OG in here. Oh, Bull Gator.
Dave, you call me old?
Nope.
No, I just, I'm going to be show up all crusty and grumpy as normal.
Hey, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, it's been a roller coaster, man. It's been a roller coaster.
What is it? November 9, 2024. Picture, if you will, Florida versus Texas. 0-42. There's a picture of Scott Strickland on the television. I wanted to let you know that Billy Napier will continue as the head football coach of the Florida Gators. We didn't have Scott Strickland. We would have Lane Kiffin is our head coach right now. I mean, because he wanted to come last year. We had which should have been a lame duck coach at that time, but we didn't. And people say, oh, but look at how the year ended. The year ended where we struggled through a bunch of games and were very fortunate to win. And Billy Napier was Billy Napier was Billy Napier. Everybody was watching to see that we were lucky to win those games. And now we are where we are. We could have had Lane this year, could have been Lane Kiffin's first year.
Could have been. And yeah, I think when you look at this, and we've had this conversation before. With that, it's been all right. What with Scott Strickland, and you got a head start this year at least, and people will go back and say, well, the head start shouldn't be needed. You should have went and got him last year, and there's a lot of truth to that. And it could, a year later, like I said, the more the wins have piled up for Ole Miss could make it more difficult. You've waited now where last year there wasn't a whole lot of competition. A lot of people were trying to figure out the landscape of college football. Everybody was kind of hanging on to their coach a little bit. And there wouldn't have been a whole lot of competition last year. And the way it turned out for me, I said after the Texas A&M last year, fire Billy Napier. They didn't do that. They didn't go on the winning streak and say, okay, well, we're back on board because of the winning streak. That doesn't mean I go back on what I said after Texas A&M. If it was up to me, he would have been fired. We would have changed that. But not the way it turned out. But looking at it this year, you got to make up for it, and you certainly can't go and lose him to LSU. Ole Miss, there's plenty of reasons for him to stay. There's reasons for him to stay that you can certainly make that defense of not defending Scott Strickland because of the ultimate not getting Billy Napier last year. But you can say, all right, well, if you look at it in a bubble for this year, there's plenty of reasons to stay at Ole Miss. I can't really put it all on Scott Strickland this year of why Lane Kiffin wouldn't leave to go to Florida in 2025. But if you let LSU come in and swoop him, if he goes anywhere else besides staying at Ole Miss, another program to come in and swoop, one that started after you, one that's going through their own mess of firing Brian Kelly and all the AD situation and all the politic talk, you let that storyline come in and take Lane Kiffin away from you. It's inexcusable. And I don't know if he'd be fired or what, but he would deserve it. Now, I don't know if it would happen because of the contract extension and all that, but that would be inexcusable in my estimation.
Well, we've on this very chat, not tonight, but previously, we've talked about the malfeasance that was that contract extension. So I won't go into that again, but we are still now relying on that same guy who stuck with Napier for another year to, one, not only choose our next coach, but two, negotiate to get whoever we're going to get. I mean, he picked our last two coaches, two bums. So I don't know. I don't have the highest. I haven't been on the Gators Breakdown Discord as much recently, just because it's so depressing.
Yeah.
And I just like I don't want to deal with this right now. When we make a decision or there's some news, real news, not Dan Thompson news, but real news, we'll then I'll be back and I'll be interested. I hope we get somebody good, regardless of who it is. I don't think anybody right now is what you call a guaranteed champion level coach. I think you're right, Dave. I think Kiffin probably gives us the best opportunity other than Signetti, and I don't think Signetti's on our radar. But I don't know. I just hope it's somebody. And the thing is, whoever comes in is going to have a very low bar, because being better than Billy Napier is not going to be that difficult. A winning season. Go to the Shreveport, what's it called? The Poulan Weed Eater Bowl. You've done better than Billy Napier. So whoever comes in, hopefully they'll put us back in that championship direction. I don't know who that is, but maybe it'll be Lane. I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, I've said many times, look, Lane's the top choice for me. I can't pretend he's the only good coach out there. You know, that's just he's the one I have the most confidence in, but they can't be the only good coach out there. I mean, it's just not how college football works. And for lack of a better example, nobody was talking about Signetti doing the things he's doing, or Brent Kiffin he's hired at Georgia Tech, or some of the names that we're talking about. When you look at it, so there are other good coaches out there, and you have this search firm to go figure that out. That's what you hired a search firm for, And I believe at the top of the search firm's board would be Lane Kiffin. There's a lot of check marks there, but that's why you hired him. You have to go get options, to have options. So it's got to be, if it's not Lane, you hired a search firm to get the next best candidate, or a lot of good candidates. And they're going to have to come to a consensus. I don't know if there's a consensus behind Lane Kiffin of who this booster wants, or that administrator wants, or who Scott Strickland wants. I think there would be that. And to me, that's why you have the search firm. All right, well, here's who we would have slotted number 2. It may not be who you have. You may not know who you want number 2. I'm sure that's a case of it as well, but that's why you have the search firm. So I'm glad they went that route this time. There was no, we're going to go interview one guy, we're going to go get that guy, like Billy Napier last time. I was hoping it would be a little cleaner process with Lane Kiffin and it get done that way in some way. But you got to interview more. You got to have your options. We'll see where this thing goes with Lane, but he can't be the only good coach out there.
One thing I want to mention about Brent Key, and I'll just let somebody else talk, but he scares me. And the reason he scares me is because he's real prone to one-score games. Yeah. And we just got through 4 years of somebody who loved one-score games. I don't want to do that again. I want someone to put their foot on someone's throat and beat them by 60 again.
I hear you, man. I completely agree. I agree with you on that angle. Like I said, I think there's a lot to like about Brent Key. That would be a concern. That would be a big valid concern.
Thanks, Dick.
Yeah, thanks, Bull. All right, let me see. I think Will was next, trying to keep up with everybody.
Hey, Dave.
What's up, Will? You have me?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, just wanted to say, recently joined Gators Breakdown Plus.
Thank you.
The Discord has been fun this week, to say the least. Love your show. Longtime watcher with you and Will. Yeah, this has been a roller coaster. We're back. We suck. We're back. We suck. So
that's probably going to happen like fun. 2 more. It's probably going to happen like 2 more times tonight. By the way.
I know. At least I'm already getting the gray hairs. But I just have a few questions. For Lincoln Riley, am I crazy, or I could have sworn like a few weeks ago Dan Thompson said he wasn't a possible candidate for UF, that they weren't really considering Lincoln.
He has come back on that. I think.
Yeah, has that changed?
Yeah,
Just based off,
yeah, he came out.
'Cause I know we're considering him now.
Yeah, right. So he has been vetted. I mean, that's probably the best way to put it. Now, as far as the interview or anything like that goes, I will completely be honest. I have no idea. But at least for the vetting process, I completely believe that has been done.
Okay. And then my second question is, I think you also brought this up with the UAA and Chip Howard's quote unquote retirement, right?
Mm-hmm.
With this big unified push from UF to go after Kiffin, do you think that's more reflective from just booster pressure and the fans? Basically, that if he loses on Kiffin and misses out, that's his job. Or do you think it's also just getting out and that they want to make football a priority again? Or it could be both.
There's so much that I think does hinge on Lane Kiffin. Oh, I think a lot does. I think there will be more unified support moving forward. And I mean,
yeah, regardless if we miss on Kiffin, do you think we'll still be more aligned?
Yeah, I do think we'll be more aligned. I do think the monetary side of it won't be as high because I do think there are so many who believe in Kiffin, and it is a return. There's a return on investment, and I do think there was a belief that he could get it done right away. So there's a lot of buy-in right away. So it's not a I got to see it to believe it because of what he's done recently. There is some of that for him too now, but with his recent success and winning a lot of SEC ball games, there is a belief him being in the conference, him winning a lot of games since he's been at Ole Miss. There's a comfortability there that there's not with anybody else. So I do think there would just be a wait and see approach. I think Lincoln would get a lot of people on board too. So I guess let me put it that way too. And since you brought up Lincoln Riley, reason I think his name has been brought up is because there's he gets a lot of people excited as well. Maybe not as much as Lane, but gets a lot of people excited too because of
they would be more buy-in for Riley compared to if we end up with Brent Key. Yeah,
right.
Like you said, the boosters wouldn't immediately jump in on that.
Right. So I think the alignment is there. I think just the monetary side of it would take the immediate monetary side would probably take a bit of a hit.
Yeah, they wouldn't be as willing right away on for the first season. Okay. And then, hold on one sec. A common thing my last question here, I've seen on Twitter, a lot of Ole Miss fans are saying, why would UF want this guy if he's willing to leave on the verge of the playoffs, right on the, the cusp of the best season in Ole Miss history? But I don't think that would really apply with UF. I think that's more of the outlier. That I don't think he would, maybe it's like you said, the orange and blue glasses here. I don't think he would do that if we do land Kiffin. Just from more of the ties with his family, idolizing Spurrier and everything else. I think it would be a lot more stable at UF.
What was that first part? I'm sorry. I got like the last good bit of it. What was the first part?
Just that a common rebuttal from people on Twitter, Ole Miss fans specifically, that they're saying, why would you want this coach if he's willing to just hop and they, everyone he cites the history. Oh, he's transient. He hops. You see USC, Tennessee, but I don't think he would do that if we land him at UF.
I mean,
I think there would be more of a foundation there.
Yeah, I could see that. The only thing is if he still has this NFL dream, Will talked about it on Monday night.
Yeah, episode. To redeem himself.
Yeah, to redeem himself in the NFL eyes, and also say things like Will brought up. I did something Saban couldn't do. Go try to win in the NFL one more time. And look, he's got a lot more experience now. He is not, we all knew when he was, in the NFL as a head coach, he was probably too young. In today's NFL, it might have worked out. But when he was given his, it was still, the older style NFL guys as head coaches. But I don't like the argument. Take it away from Ole Miss, take it away from Florida, take it away from Lane of the transient and always moving. If you're moving up, isn't that everybody's goal in life?
It's ambitious.
Yes.
Yeah. You don't know the reason why.
Right. So, from their angle, a lot of them say it's because they think they're, equals are better than Florida right now. That's some of that. They don't see it as a move up. They don't think they're the stepping stone. Right. So that's part of their angle on this as well. So, the only way to shut that up is for Lane to come to Florida.
Yeah. And I think depending after this, we'll find out a lot more about how much he's grown or matured, quote unquote, and about just his personality. If he still thinks he has more to accomplish, and that if he still leaves the UF for the NFL, or if he thinks he's reached the top of the mountain and just wants to be the next Nick Saban,
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Dave. I don't want to take up too much time.
All right. Hey, no, man. Thanks for hopping in. Thanks for being a member. And this is
man. Have a good night.
Hey,
go Gators.
You too, man. Go Gators. FBW.
Dave, how you doing?
I am well.
So I'm a first timer, but I just want to keep it simple and quick because I know there's a lot of people probably waiting. The other day, you put the chances, I think, at 80% that you believe he would come. Do you still feel that strongly, or has that changed a little bit?
It is a good question still, and I've brought up the LSU angle in this because I knew it would get messy. If LSU fired Brian Kelly, I knew right then they would go after Lane Kiffin. So I knew it would get messy. If Brian Kelly was still at LSU, I think this thing would already be done, honestly. But I think with LSU, I think it muddies it up a bit. So I would probably lower it to like 70%. If I had to put a number on it, I do. I've stood by the whole, when a lot of other people did about the whole LSU angle in this. Even as messy as it got there, even the whole Brian Kelly situation, it's still LSU. They're still crazy about football. They'll do crazy things. And hey, look, credit to them. If they are proving they are that serious about football and they end up getting Lane Kiffin, if you're a fan of them, good for them, because they find a way to get things done. They take it serious and they go. A lot of people were saying, hey, you can't fire Brian Kelly. He's had some success there. He went to an SEC championship game. He's had a Heisman Trophy winner. Give him a longer leash. They didn't feel like that was the best move anymore. And here we are firing Billy Napier in year 4. Here they are firing Brian Kelly in year 4. Well, he had a lot more success than Billy Napier ever did at Florida. And they decided they needed to make a move. They just need to get in front of things, and it may pay off for them. So I do think them getting in the mix has muddied this up a little bit to where, it should, as we get closer to what we think was a decision in the next few days, it has muddied it up enough to where I just, not necessarily the confidence strictly towards Florida, but the confidence in saying that LSU can get in the mix and make it more hairy. So them getting in the mix this far, still hearing that they're in the mix, still hearing that they are a contender for Lane Kiffin services. The closer we get to a decision, I think I do have to lower my expectation a little bit.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Try to be honest with you guys. I'd love to be full homer mode, and maybe I am by even putting it that high. Who knows? We get Christian in here. All right, Christian, unmute the mic if that's. Oh, nope, he dropped out. Maybe he was on hold for a little bit too long. So, Any more comments that you guys want to put in the sidebar or get in here? And let your imagination. Oh, there's Christian. There's Christian again. Go ahead, boy. Now I'm bringing Christian in.
You know, Dave, with LSU firing their coach out of the blue like that, with all the winning that he's done, that's a toxic fan base.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're not like that.
No. We're labeled that way, though. We are labeled that way.
Somebody should do a whole podcast on that kind of bias. But anyway,
Yeah.
let you go ahead with Chris.
Think somebody would have. Yeah. Hey, Christian.
Hey, sorry, Dave.
Oh, good.
Discord did not have access to my mic for some reason.
Oh, okay. All good.
Sort of a different, maybe slightly complicated question here, but I know you've always said that you're not really one to try to break news.
Yeah.
You leave that to the guys that are reporters on the beat. But I'm curious, like, what sort of information sharing happens between yourself and some of the other guys on the beat? Like, are you involved in conversations with guys like Zach and Graham and others? And like, if that does occur, how do you balance, and just generally, how do you balance confirming what you're hearing with each other with also wanting to be the people to break news?
That is a great question, because, and we've heard this, and I've put it out there a lot. So the word echo chamber, the phrase echo chamber comes out a lot. And that's the thing that's the most dangerous to me, because while I can confirm with multiple sources, how do I know that the multiple sources didn't hear it from the same person? So, that's the biggest worry for me when it comes to trying to confirm information that's out there. So especially like this. Now, for this one, I think in some ways it is a little easier, as crazy as that sounds, because what I will try to do, at least and this is, this is what, the third coaching search I've had since I've been doing Gators Breakdown. Early on in the process, it was hiring Dan Mullen, and it was nothing like this for me. There was the whole Chip Kelly thing. It was following that, and it was pretty much Chip Kelly, Scott Frost, Dan Mullen. And if you go back to that, Dan Mullen was my top choice back then. I got my top choice. It started off good and crashed and burned. And then we go to Billy Napier, and that one was pretty straightforward. There wasn't a lot of drama with that one. This one is a whole lot different. So what I've tried to do is, of course, Florida sources, Ole Miss sources, LSU sources, and then some neutral sources. And I've put as much neutral talk, because to me, that's probably the best way to go right now, because fully admit most of the Florida media are hearing positivity towards Florida. Ole Miss, more positivity towards Ole Miss. I think they have more LSU connections. So I think them and LSU, I think, kind of start their own echo chamber. Not to say it's wrong, but I just think that is the natural progression of it all. With Ole Miss and LSU being traditional rivalries, I think both of those schools have more sources to do with each other than linking one of those schools to Florida. LSU and Florida, I think, have a lot of bleed over as well. But I've tried to lean on neutral as much as I can, especially in this thing. So as far as this coaching search, that's how I approach it. Confirm what I can hear from a Florida source, a LSU source, an Ole Miss source, with what I can consider as neutral as it can be. So there's that one. As far as general information goes, like recruiting and all that stuff, certainly have people that I lean on. I think the biggest thing you probably have to realize is the closer you get to it, the biggest realization in all that is how much things change. It is never a straight line. I tweet the roller coaster gif a lot because that is truly how it is. I don't think it's misinformation. I honestly think information changes. Some people are told what they want to hear. Some people believe what they want to hear. So that makes it tough. But I guess, Christian, to answer your question, one reason that I don't get in the breaking news world a whole lot is I don't want to live in that world a whole lot. It's just I don't want to be a reporter. If it comes to me, I'll go about it. But as far as digging heavy and all that, I would be honest with you, it doesn't happen a whole lot. It's just not my nature to try and be first on anything. I'd rather react to the news. If it falls in my lap, fine. I will approach it that way, and I'll go with it. If my line of work was different, I would approach it different. But I would probably going to approach it with just some caution. That's probably the best way for me to put it. Hopefully, I answered it.
Yeah, totally appreciate it, man.
Oh, all right. Trying to keep up with the phone and stuff too, and see if anything's coming out or anything while we're on here.
Blowing up over there. It hasn't stopped a bit.
Do what?
I said the main chat's still blowing up over there.
Oh, is it?
Slowed down a bit.
Yeah, I can't peek over there right now because I'm just trying to see who's trying to get in here and all that kind of stuff. And see John raise his hand. I'll get him in here. But Rick Long did put the chat box over here. In today's college football, do you think it's more important to hire the NFL-style GM and talent evaluators and so on than the actual coach? I know Kiffin is thought to be a home run hire, but if you don't land Kiffin, do you think it would be a mistake to prioritize a coach than getting the right people in place to handle the roster building? For me, I still lean get me the coach, because if you're going to sit here and tell me in today's college football that the talent is going to be more dispersed, well, then what's going to be the separator? It's going to be the head coach. It's going to be the play caller. So to me, it is still the coach. Are we going to live in a world of college football where it's less about the Jimmies and Joes? Maybe so. So if we are, give me the excellent Saturday guy. Give me the guy who's going to make a difference on Saturday, or who hires the right people to make a difference on Saturday. That's the way I will approach it. That's the way. I know there's this whole NFL style and GM. I don't think college football is fully immersed itself into looking truly like the NFL. There's still going to be differences in talent. You're still going to have some differences. Now, I do think the differences have shrunk. So that, to me, for me, makes your coach and your coaching staff the separator. That's the way I go with it. So I still am going to put a lot on your game day coach and coaching staff. All right. Let me get John in here. What's up, John?
How you doing, man?
I am doing well. Trying to just follow it all.
Oh man, the chat's been blowing up, man. You can't keep up with anything in there.
I know, man. It's fun and tough at the same time.
Yeah, I enjoy it, but it's like I'll like turn my head for 10 seconds and 30 new messages here and there. Yeah, I've been a little logged out lately just because my whole family, my whole house has the flu.
Oh no, man.
It's been a rough couple days, dude. It's been a rough couple days. Hey, you know what? Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
And I think we both know the answer to get there. We all want a national championship.
Yep.
Bringing a national championship obviously results in many different other, positive byproducts. But more than a national championship, is there anything that you could think that you'd want for this program?
Many of you will probably guess where my first threshold you're going to have to pass as the Florida Gator head coach, and that is come in and start beating the heck out of Georgia. We've got to turn that around.
Yeah.
When has Florida been their best? When they're beating Georgia.
Yeah, no.
There's no other mark in history of Florida football. When Florida's at their best, they are beating Georgia. Georgia may not be the best team out there, but it is usually a signal of how good Florida is if you're consistently beating Georgia. So,
well, Kirby said this year they're hard to kill, and that's true.
Yeah.
They right now I don't think they're the best team, I don't really see any like real
They might be turning
standout
into the best
dominant
team
team,
though.
but they're consistent though, and
Yeah.
it's getting them there,
Yeah.
and they're hard to kill. So I'll give him credit where they're due, and I don't know if there's anybody in college football right now who's better at making halftime adjustments than he is. He's good at it. I give him credit where it's due at.
I
And
know.
he's relentless.
I'm so glad you said that too, because there are so many out there. And I think I've even heard, now maybe in the NFL it's different, but I think I was even watching a Manning cast on a Monday Night Football game one time, and Peyton Manning was saying halftime adjustments are overrated. And I'm like, that's interesting to hear.
Oh, that's crazy.
So, but then you go watch Kirby this year in Georgia, and it's like, all right, slow start, maybe losing at halftime. After halftime, it's a completely different game. So, and we got the famous Will Muschamp gif where he's at Texas, and it does look like it's halftime, and the team is sitting there at his adjustments, and he's sitting there punching a board and all that. So obviously, you get behind the scenes, and I've seen coaches talk about it too. Now they can have, I think, TV monitors and monitors that are in the locker rooms, and they are going over stuff at halftime. They're coaching at halftime. So obviously there's a lot that goes into halftime adjustments, but bringing up Georgia and that aspect of it, it certainly, I think holds a lot of weight. But yeah, if you're telling me it's expanding that, it is beat your rivals. And it starts with Georgia, but give me a guy, if national championship is the ultimate goal, it's got to start somewhere, and you got to start by beating your rivals. I mean, you got to come to Florida, and don't give me this every game is the same game. I cannot stand it. It drives me nuts. I know some of it's coach speak, but behind the scenes, I think we knew that Billy Napier, it wasn't that big of a difference of Georgia and Kentucky or Georgia and whoever else. Give me
the only game he gets up for is Tennessee.
It seemed like it, yeah. Give me a guy who's even going to screaming in a press conference, we do not like those guys. Make it known like Urban in Georgia. Make it known like Michigan and Ohio State. Give me a guy who's going to come in here. And you know what? That would be one big plus with Brent Key. We know he hates Georgia, being a Georgia Tech guy, as much as we do. So that would be one big plus there. But just all in all, Florida and Georgia, Florida and Tennessee, Florida, Miami, Florida, LSU. No, those games are not the same. Those games are different. Go win them.
I agree with you. For me to expand on that, what I was going to say is, a lot of people say, well, Florida's been irrelevant since Tim Tebow and all that. That's what they always say. And don't get me wrong. Like, I know we've had entirely too many bad seasons. We've had some embarrassing moments. And I know that the East wasn't as strong as the West for a while, but at the end of the day, we did have a few good seasons in there and a few good moments. But to me, I know like the current recruits and things of that nature weren't really around to see Florida be good the last time we were truly, an elite team. But I've heard that kind of stuff forever, and now in light of the recent events with LSU and everyone immediately, as soon as the LSU job opened up, acting like Florida was a nobody and, the LSU's so much better. First of all, if I'm a diehard Gator, I have my orange and blue glasses, but if I'm going to call it like it is, I don't know if there's any two programs in the SEC that could be more evenly matched in terms of the program and everything as a whole, and than UF and LSU. Outside of academics, we know Florida wins that, but those programs are so evenly matched. And this idea that, well, LSU doesn't have to compete for their talent. Well, first of all, you can't keep them all, and second of all, NIL has totally changed that. So that to me doesn't apply anymore either. I just don't see it, and this, I guess, for lack of better terms, it's kind of pissed me off the way this is all going down and the way people are talking about us. And I said a few weeks ago, Florida has an opportunity to kind of set a precedent. I really, really, really want us to get back to a place where we can't be ignored. If we're going to be hated, I at least want it to be because we're beating the piss out of people.
I hear you. I like that approach for sure. I like that approach for sure. Yeah, and look, I'm hoping it's that way too. I'm kind of tired of hearing about the national narrative as well. That is a great way to put it. If you're going to hate us, let it be because we're kicking your butt.
Yeah, it's a little hard right now to deny them some of their critiques because we're definitely not where we should be. But in the same token, to turn around and act like this thing, with the right circumstances and the right coach, you can't
Thank you.
sprout overnight, and and it can and it will, as long as people are on board. That being said, Strickland, I don't think has no choice but to get this hire right.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of football and then of course basketball, every friggin' hire he's made has been terrible, terrible, and he's got to get this right. He has to.
He does. He does. And if it's me, yeah, I think his job should be on the line with it, but I don't know if it is, because of this extension and all that stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, if we don't land Lane, is there a chance that another coach could come in here and whip it up and turn this thing into something? Absolutely. Could it happen? Sure, but like we've said, you were talking about earlier, the instant buy-in is automatically going to be hindered, and that's going to automatically keep someone from competing at a necessary level. So I don't know, man. I'm just really tired of this narrative, and I'm tired of kind of losing to LSU as of late too. We've lost entirely too many games to them. We lost the baseball championship to them.
yeah.
They've had our number the last 8 years, and I'm over it.
I hear you, man. I hear you. And hey, look, you sound. I don't mean this in a bad way, because you sound like us, and probably I don't know how many times you've been able to voice your. I guess I will say displeasure on on the Gators Breakdown Plus chat, but maybe frustrated is not the right word, but I think you sound like
Fed up.
Yeah, fed up. There you go. The best way to put it. And I think we all are that way. And with this. Take away whether you want Lane Kiffin or not. I know most do, but I know some out there don't. Either way, it is still going to be a big mark for Florida, because it would be a win. It'd be a win on a national level when people are telling Lane Kiffin, don't go there. Or if you are going to leave, go to LSU instead. It is, it is something you can put in your pocket and say, haha, shut it. And whether you want Lane or not, and we'll see how it plays out down the road. But if you don't, at least, you have that where, okay, some still give Florida credit. Florida's still this big time program out there. The program is going to take a hit if it's not Lane Kiffin in the eye. And the only way to get past that is we'll have to bide our time, and whoever the hire is going to have to just go win. But that's going to take some time. Lane Kiffin is about the only guy that's going to give Florida instant credit. Without that, it's going to be a wait-and-see approach from the fan base and outside of Gator Nation.
Yeah, I think Riley is really truly the only suitable candidate after that gives you anywhere as close to much buy-in and excitement. And I feel like with Riley's offensive prowess, and the skill talent that Florida has, he would at least be able to come here and utilize and not expose. I don't know the word I'm looking for here, but he would be able to use the offense and create a prowess here, put points up and create exciting football. And I think that would obviously get buy-in, and what you were just saying a second ago, I mean, you hear these guys talking about LSU and they're like, oh, well, he should go to LSU if he's going to leave. But when it's about going to Florida, and they're shunning him for it. And it's just like, and the thing is before the LSU job came up, well, first of all, Penn State came up. That was the big talk, right? And then a week later or whatever, Florida comes up. And I remember making a comment on the board. I was like, ever since Florida came open, you do not hear about Penn State anymore. Nobody's talking about Penn State. And then when LSU came out, it's like we were being talked about like we were a bunch of dirt necks. And I was just, I'm in disbelief, that that's kind of what people think of this program. And
Yeah.
I'm tired of it being that way. And for me, you're talking about me sounding frustrated. In fairness to me, I living here in Maryland now. I'm from Florida. I'm from the Gainesville area. I lived there my entire life until I moved here 9 years ago. My wife couldn't care less. My son's definitely into it, but I mean, he's young, so he's not, into it the way that I am.
Yeah.
And I don't have anybody to talk college football with except for the chat. So,
Hey, that's
anyway,
one reason I created it, man. And thanks for hopping in, being a member, and hey, we'll keep it going regardless.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna go ahead and mute, man, and let somebody
Okay.
else get in here. And just want to say thanks for hosting us, Dave. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks. All right, P. Rich, I know is ready to go. Fletch, I know your name was up. I will end it with you two guys, Fletch, if you do want to get back in here, but I will start with P. Rich.
All right. Can you hear me?
I gotcha.
Oh, awesome. Hey, Dave. So I know probably going to get some eye rolls with this just because of how much I've mentioned in the chat, but I truly think that like turnkey is so vital in the search just because of one, Strickland combined with the loudness of our boosters on social media would just be a complete disaster if we didn't have somebody to keep all this stuff quiet. But my question off of that was like, not trying to put any bad energy out there, but like assuming if we don't land Kiffin, how quickly do you think the pivot is to number 2? Do you still think the same timeline of like first week of December for a hire, or is that extended at all?
Great question. That is a great question. I never honestly haven't even thought about a timeline for the other choices.
I'm just trying to hone down on my research here, to be honest with you.
I mean, if Lincoln is your guy, it does give you a head start because they're not going to be in a conference championship or a playoff race. So that is one advantage of targeting him and having him as your next guy. Now, Brent Key, say you got these two guys even, to me, that would be a tiebreaker. If I can go ahead and get Lincoln Riley in here, because Georgia Tech, I think, outside shot of the playoff. So go win the ACC. Maybe I think they can still do that, right? I'm pretty sure.
I think technically the ACC kind of stinks, but
but maybe not. So, but yeah, I still think you want somebody to salvage whatever you can from an early signing day class. So yeah, I do think you try to make it still as soon as possible. But the question is going to be, we got this Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin meeting on Friday. I guess it's going to be determined when you were told no by Lane. I mean, now you have this, like you said, turnkey, and you have this group that's getting things ready. I've said it last night, and I've said it in the chat too. There's no way Lane Kiffin has been the only interviews Florida has done. Now, don't ask me who, because I will be honest, I don't know who else Florida has interviewed. Like I said, I know they have vetted Lincoln Riley, Brent Key. But as far as like a sit-down interview, I would assume those happen, but that's an assumption. I will fully admit it. But you can't tell me Florida has not interviewed anybody else. It's just somebody's not doing their job if the only person being interviewed is Lane Kiffin on November 20th. So why did you hire this? Why'd you hire this search firm if that's the case? You can't be that behind. So to me, if your timeline is still as close to the end of the season as it can possibly be, you've had to start that process at least with other guys. So I still say, if they can, Florida's making a hire on somebody the Sunday after FSU or the weekend after. Now that's butts uprights against National Signing Day. But to me, it has to. Whether it's Lane and you find out, or if it's somebody else, it's got to be the Sunday after FSU and that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday after.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, with like you said, with as much money as we're spending, or they're spending rather, on this search firm, hopefully they have a backup plan if something goes south. But hopefully we just land our guy and we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Thanks, man, for the question.
Yeah, appreciate it, Dave. I'll let somebody else get in here.
All right. Fletch Lives comes in here, and that will be it for this member chat.
All right, Dave, just kind of bouncing off of what P. Rich said, man, just a kind of a trauma going through all these things. Thought, if we don't land Lane, what are the chances that some potential candidates may back out? Because as a fan base, we're so all in on Lane that, for lack of a better term, they don't want to come in here and get Greg Schiano'd.
I think that probably holds some weight. Now, the two programs that have kind of happened to, you mentioned Greg Schiano, Tennessee, and Tennessee has found their way. Kind of the same thing happened at Texas A&M when the word was it was going to be Mark Stoops. There was this stink about it, and they end up hiring Mike Elko. So the two schools that are most known for that type of move, it has worked out for them. So I'm not advocating it by any means. I'm bringing up the examples. I think the only one it really, as far as the name that has been spoken about the most that was going to get that reaction, is Eli Drinkwitz. And I just don't think it's going to be him. I think that is part of the reason but it's crazy. And I've seen this out there on social media, but we've all talked about it. You talk to a Florida fan, you talk to an LSU fan, you talk to an Auburn fan who are looking for their next head coach, and you bring up Eli Drinkwitz's name, and it's the same reaction for every fan base. They not want him as the next head coach. I don't know. That's about the only guy I think can get that reaction. But going to your point, if that is a talking point, when we're talking about it now, and if that gets out there, could it push some guys away? Sure. But I mean, a lot of these coaches out there, man, they are, and rightfully so, they're full of themselves, and they think they can just get it done. So I don't necessarily think it'll push too many guys away. When I kind of just zoom back out and look at it, I don't think that would be a sticking point for most out there. I think the sticking point would go back to a point I made earlier. And if there's, now I don't know if these other guys can prove it or not, but if there's all this talk, if Lane's the guy, you get this NIL promise and this much money and that much money, but you don't hire Lane and all that goes away, or some of that goes away. Well, that guy's going to be like, hey, well, I heard this was the case for Lane. Why isn't it the case for me? That could be the part that shuns away other coaches more so than I think the fan base.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate your thoughts, Dave. You do a great job, and I appreciate your time, man. Thank you.
Hey, thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. I know we didn't have a chat Sunday night. I was enjoying just being a fan. Me and my dad Sunday night right there at the Florida-Miami basketball game here in Jacksonville. A lot of fun to see that team play in person. So had to make it up. I didn't know when, just because this week, guys, you see it every day. It has been crazy. So I was like, all right, got to try and make it up somewhere. I just didn't know. It was short notice, but one of the biggest chats we've ever had. And I know why, because of what's going on and all the questions that are surrounding this Florida coaching search right now. So thanks for hopping in short notice and making this very successful. And one more time, thank you for trusting me for this, this following on this adventure we call Gator fandom right now. And it's at level 10 for sure. So I am going to butt up with this episode, my Tennessee preview. So Gators Breakdown Plus chat and a Tennessee preview will be this episode of Gators Breakdown out there for everybody. So there still is a game to be played, and I talk about it. And it's just kind of the nature of the beast right now. More coaching talk, more so than the actual football. But if you want Florida Tennessee preview, like I always do it, it'll be on this episode of Gators Breakdown right after this as well. So everybody, Gators Breakdown Plus members, thank you so much. All right, let's get it going with the preview. Florida Tennessee this week in the swamp, and yeah, kind of has just fallen by the wayside with all the coaching stuff going on, but hey, we still got a game. We're still going to talk about it right here on Gators Breakdown. So only a couple more of these left, and it's a rivalry games, Tennessee, Florida State. So everybody, one more time, hit that like button. It really, really helps us out right here on Gators Breakdown. And all right, I mean, first, Tennessee, they are 4-point favorites, a little bit closer. So if you want to, before we get to the preview, if you want to bet it, well, then head to MyBookie. Tennessee, 4-point favorites in the swamp with the over-under at 57. Bet that game, bet more college football, bet the NFL. Get on the action on that way at MyBookie, but also playing those casino games. One account, one wallet, bet football all weekend, and spend some time hitting the slots. You don't have to switch apps. You don't have to jump to another platform. Straight up action right there on MyBookie. Like I said, you get the college football, the NFL action. As far as the NFL goes, you get the super contest, you get the survivor pools. Bet it all at MyBookie, your one-stop sports book and casino in one. When you're done betting football, when you're done watching football, hop in, play some casino games there at MyBookie as well. Use our promo code Gators in your first bet. Up to $500 is fully covered. Make your play. If it doesn't hit, you get it right back with a bet back bonus. So sign up at mybookie.ag with promo code Gators and claim your bet back bonus. All right, let's get it started right here. Florida, Tennessee. 5-17 in games played in Gainesville. The Vols are seeking their first victory in the swamp since September 20th, 2003. Ron Zook versus Phil Fulmer. So that's how far you got to go back before the last time they've won in the swamp. Had some teams they thought would come to the swamp and win. Did not do it. Hopefully that continues again on Saturday. If you go to Tennessee this year, all 3 of Tennessee's losses are against teams ranked in the current top 10 of the college football playoff rankings. Georgia at 4, Oklahoma at 8, and Bama at 10. Since taking over the program, Vols were 3-7 prior to Josh Heupel's arrival. He's won 44 of his 62 games at Tennessee, which is the 5th most among SEC programs during that span. So here we go. Let's go to the Tennessee team this year a bit. Let's go to offense. Tennessee ranks 2nd in FBS in total offense. 2nd in all of college football in total offense with 495 yards per game, behind Georgia Tech's 496.7. The Vols have gone over 400 yards of total offense in all 10 games this season. Tennessee leads Power 4 in scoring at 43.4 points per game. It has scored at least 40 points in 7 of 10 games this season. The Vols have 57 touchdowns, 51 offensive, and 6 defensive, are tied for the 3rd most in FBS and lead the SEC 57 total touchdowns. Tennessee has scored 434 points through the first 10 games of the season, which is the 2nd most in its history behind the 2022 team's 474. So a 40-point difference from the 2022 offense, 474 down to 434 this year. So, I mean, scored a lot of points here at Tennessee right here. Best offense since 2022. Of course, both of those happening during the Josh Heupel era. Joey Aguilar comes in at quarterback, of course, transfers from UCLA at the kind of the trade with Nico Imalava. I butchered that, but Nico. Joey Aguilar, career leader, is the FBS active career leader in passing yards per game with 277.2 and total offense per game with 293.5 yards. He will be making his 35th FBS start in his 36th career FBS game when he takes on Florida. So, I mean, crazy. 36th career FBS game when he takes on Florida. So his 35th FBS start in his 36th career FBS game. So only one game he hasn't started. Aguilar has thrown for over 200 yards in all 34 of his previous FBS starts, which is the longest current streak in the country. Aguilar has hit on 8 50-plus yard passes this season. Key to the game right here, of course, we know this Tennessee offense can be explosive. Has not been that way the last couple of years. Mentioned that 2022 offense took a dip with Joe Milton, took a dip with Nico in those big passes. Kind of getting back into that explosive range this year. Aguilar, 8 50-plus yard passes. That leads the SEC and is tied for third in the country. The Vols have had 6 50-plus yard pass plays all of last season, and they're 8 so far this year with 2 games left to play. Aguilar leads the SEC in passing touchdowns, passing yards per game, and he's second in total offense and passing efficiency. Go back. His first SEC game was against Georgia, back all the way September 13th. Threw for 371 yards, counted for 5 touchdowns, and threw for 4 of them. So ran one in. 371 passing yards, tied for the most ever for a Vol versus Georgia, matching Peyton Manning in 1996. So look, perhaps a key for the Gators, making Aguilar uncomfortable early. It's a big, big key, guys. I'm telling you, because this Tennessee offense gets off to a fast start. And with Aguilar in the first quarter of this season, in every game, the first quarter, he's 77 of 102. So 75% completion percentage for about 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns in the first quarter. 7 of 102. 1,100 yards. Now, 1,105 yards leads the nation, and he's 5th in touchdown passes in the first quarter. He's completed 26 15-plus yard passes plays in the first quarter, which is second in the nation. So it gets in a groove early. And who's it getting the groove with? Pretty good trio there at Tennessee at the wide receiver spot. Tennessee's the only team in the Power 4 with 3 players with 600 or more yards receiving. It's a first for the program since 1997. Chris Brazzell, the SEC best, 873 yards. Braylon Staley, 761. Mike Matthews, 667. We go. Chris Brazzell having a career year. I don't know if it's Brazzell. I think it's Brazzell. Maybe I get it wrong. But he leads the SEC in receiving touchdowns with 8. Receiving yards, 873. And receiving yards per game with 87.3. He is 10th, and 12th, respectively, in college football in those categories, in receiving touchdowns, receiving yards per game. So just like his quarterback in the first quarter of games, he's got 22 catches for 429 yards, 5 scores in the first quarter of games. He's tied for second in the nation in first quarter touchdown grabs with 5, and he's second in receiving yards at 429. Staley leads all Power 4 freshmen in 2 categories, receiving yards of 761 and receiving touchdowns with 6. He's second in Power 4 freshmen with catches with 57. So running the ball, that is a big part of Josh Heupel's offense. 34 games producing 200 rushing yards in the Josh Heupel era. 32-2 when doing so. They've won 26 in a row when rushing for 200 yards under Josh Heupel. So there you go. There's a key. First, if you're Florida, try not to let Tennessee get off to a great start in the first quarter like they're used to. And then don't let them get over 200 yards rushing. Now, a lot of teams will probably have that stat. Getting over 200 yards rushing, you're probably going to win a lot of games. But yeah, going just to the Tennessee offense, talk about the players there. They just dominated the first quarter of the season. 145-45 in the first quarter this year. The 100-point margin leads the SEC. The 14.5 points in the first quarter this year tops the FBS, and the 10-point differential per first quarter this season is second in the FBS behind Texas Tech. The Vols have scored 19 touchdowns, 16 on offense, 3 on defense in the first quarter this year. 3 defensive touchdowns in the first quarter. pretty interesting there. The Vols have scored 23 of their 35 offensive drives in the first quarter of this season. So certainly a key to the game. You don't let this happen. No idea about the mindset of this Florida team. Of course, 3 straight losses since you fired Billy Napier. It's now your first time at home in a month. So if you're Florida, Gator Nation to be there. The game is sold out. It's a rivalry game. Keep the crowd in it. And then also, of course, keep the team engaged. I have no idea what the mindset is of this team. Don't want to get down big. Doesn't usually happen where you have to fight and claw back. Usually, keep it pretty comfortable. But if the second half continues to play out like it has so far this year, this getting off to a good start, not letting Tennessee get off to a good start, is instrumental. You're going to have to build some kind of lead if the second half of games plays out like we've seen it. So it could be dangerous for Florida here if Tennessee has this great first quarter. And then we know at least the fourth quarter for Florida isn't going to be good. Got to do better in the second half of games. So can't let Kentucky or Tennessee build this big lead up. So for Florida on defense, of course, Caleb Banks is back. But Mekhi Burrow, George Gums out. Gums leads Florida with 6.5 tackles for loss, second on the team with 2.5 sacks, 31 total tackles, 14 solo stops. He's been playing better recently since he's gotten healthier. And now, of course, we'll miss this game. Tennessee isn't getting up a ton of pressure or sacks, so having Banks back is big because you don't want to have to stack the box against Tennessee. So having Banks back is a lot more valuable than having Gums out there. He can open it up. You're just saying, hopefully, if it's Caleb Banks, the Caleb Banks we know, you won't have to stack the box to stop their run game. So Tennessee just can't light you up in the passing game, because you have to come down and stack the box to stop the run. Now, I have no idea how impactful Caleb Banks will be as far as numbers of snaps played. Played 29 versus LSU before getting re-injured. Played his role well, commanded double teams, got in the backfield. If this is the Banks we know, then he can open it up for other players. Gums, without Gums, got the edge spot. They need to take advantage. Sapp, Cam James, Jaden Woods, Kofi Asari need to step up. Now, you look at it, Florida has done well limiting the Tennessee offense in the last couple of seasons. But, of course, that was with Joe Milton, Nico at quarterback for the Vols. So 2 years ago, the Vols gained 387 total yards. That was in the Swamp a couple years ago. While last season, only 312 in an overtime game. They're in Knoxville, of course. So Tennessee offense is certainly more reminiscent of the 2022 version, where they gained 576 yards against this similar style of defense. So, I mentioned the Vols wide receivers earlier. We all know how explosive they can be, and there's been missed opportunities from their passing game the last couple of seasons. Do they hit more of those this year? So Florida up front have to win so you can keep more guys back there in the defensive backfield so Tennessee can hopefully so you can limit the explosiveness of this Tennessee offense. All right, so let's go to the other side right here to Tennessee defense. Caught in a transition year while fighting a ton of injuries. But I mean, you look at in the graph I got up here, defensive success rate, 77th in the country. Against the rush, their success rate, 120th in the country. So we know where Florida's got to take advantage. We'll get into that. But if you look at it, that's the success rate. That's the story of their defense. Overall, 77th in success rate, 120th against the rush. So Florida's got to be able to take advantage. EPA per rush, the Florida offense is 60th in the country. Tennessee 61st. So might just be a butting of heads here when you look at it. But 6 defensive touchdowns scored by Tennessee this season, which leads the Power 4 and is second in the FBS, only behind Louisiana Tech. 6 defensive touchdowns. Tennessee has forced 16 fumbles this season, which is second in the country, only behind Texas Tech's 18. That total is 4 better than the next closest SEC team, as Alabama and Texas both have 11. The Vols have forced at least 1 fumble in 9 of 10 games. They have also recovered 10 fumbles, which is tied for 4th in the country and leads the SEC. Texas Tech, once again, first with 13 recovered fumbles. Tennessee has recorded 33 total sacks this season, which is 4th in the SEC, tied for 5th in the country. The Vols are 4th in the nation in sacks per game and 4th in the SEC with 3.3 sacks a game. Tennessee has recorded at least 3 sacks in 8 of 10 games, including 4 or more in 3 of the 6 conference contests. Dominic Bailey leads the way with 5.5 sacks. So, mentioned them being beat up. So, they have absences at cornerback, Jermon McCoy, cornerback Ricky Gibson III. Those guys out due to injury. Tennessee's quarterbacks, they've fought hard, in ways that they can, having to turn to some young guys. They ranked second or tied for second in the SEC in passes defended with 50, 42 pass breakups, 8 interceptions. The 42 pass breakups are tied with LSU for first in the SEC. That ranks tied for 23rd in the country. Colorado transfer cornerback Colton Hood, immediate splash there for the Vols. He's tied with true freshman cornerback Ty Redmond for 5th in the SEC in pass breakups with 8. Mentioned Ty Redmond. True freshman, leads all SEC freshmen in pass breakups with 8, interceptions with 2, and passes defended with 10. Tied for 5th overall in the league in passes defended. Redmond leads all Power 4 freshmen in pass breakups and passes defended. So, pretty high marks there. Pretty high marks there. Jaden Ball has to get going this game. Tennessee's given up yards on the ground this season, 198 to Georgia, 203 to Mississippi State, 240 to Arkansas, 146 to Kentucky, 192 to Oklahoma. Now, some of those involve the quarterback run as well. Arkansas, Taylor Green had 63 yards rushing. Oklahoma, John Mateer had 80 yards on the ground. So, do we need to continue to see DJ Lagway use his legs, even though he's not really the runner those guys are? Looked at it, the first availability report, Tramel Jones was listed as questionable. So, does that impact how the offensive game plan goes about running DJ Lagway? Saw a good bit in the first half versus Ole Miss last week, not so much in the second half, but it doesn't matter. Either way, Jaden Ball's got to get going. This offensive line has got to open some holes for him to be a more consistent back. We don't see the big runs. It hasn't been the home run runs at all for this offense. Need more of it. Need it. I'm ready to see Jaden Ball just have a game he deserves. One of, if not the best players on the roster. Got to get him going. Got to get him going. But, prediction time. You see the predictor right here on CFB Graphs. They have a projected of about 31 to 22. I'm pretty close to that. I got 31-24 Tennessee. CFB Graphs, given all of this advanced analytics here, give Tennessee a 66% chance to win this game. They've had horrors in the swamp. They've had horrors in Gainesville. I'd love for it to continue. They've brought better teams in and find a way to end up with a loss. Maybe it happens again. But what we've seen from this Gator team, in no win since about a month ago, the last time at home against Mississippi State. Find a way. But if I'm going to Vegas, I'd be picking Tennessee to cover the spread and beat Florida 31-24. So, all right, everybody, that will do it. Thanks for checking this out right here on Gators Breakdown. Little member chat before this. Some football talk with Florida, Tennessee coming up. Rivalry game. Go Gators. Let's go get it done. No matter what I pick, go get it done. But there's just so much going on in Gator Nation right now. And thanks for everybody who just chimes in, watches. I know it's a busy time right now. We're trying to do the best we can, covering it all for you. So one more time, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so yet. But that'll do it for this episode of Gators Breakdown. I'm your host, David Waters. Find me on social media at GatorDave_SEC. And guys and girls out there, thank you for just listening, watching, however you do it. This episode of Gators Breakdown.